Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Food, Wine, and Travel Show, where we go across country and travel the world with members of the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. Let's go. So welcome, everyone. We get to interview travel writers who are all members of the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association, and also some of the destination members as well. And I encourage you to go to IFWTWA.org. But today we're going to go to Arizona to learn about Halifax, Nova Scotia. So Darla Hoffmann is joining us. She runs the website aboutwineinaz.com. She's a travel journalist, a certified sommelier, a certified specialist of wine, and owner of About Wine and Travel. And that is super cool because she teaches people all about the wonderful world of wine. We love wine. So welcome back, Darla. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, this is good. And I know that last time you were on the show, you were on a different channel with Peggy Fiandoc, and we were talking about wine pairings from different states. And at that time, you were in the middle of, putting this whole, I think you'd just done your 50th state, actually, with the wine pairing.
Right upon completion of the project. Yes.
And so now the project is becoming a book.
It is. So we've been working on this for several years now, and I think we're about ready. We're almost ready. The editing has been, we've been going through that, and I think we're looking at like October, latest winter. So we've got
end of year. This baby's coming out.
Yes. I'm very hopeful.
That's exciting. So you paired wine with food, one dish, one wine across the country.
Yeah, from every state in the U.S. We did a wine, and we paired it with their kind of signature, that state's signature food. Like, for instance, Arizona was chimichanga and then a Syrah. So we kind of tried to make sure the pairings worked with that food from that state. And yeah, we had a really great response from all the wineries that we reached out to. So it was a lot of fun doing it. And now seeing it all come together, it's pretty exciting.
You get to have more wine then. Yeah, exactly. Now, the other thing too, that you're going to talk to us about going to Nova Scotia, right? And you had two completely different experiences lodging wise. One was glamping, and the glamping sounds so awesome. And then you also, and that was at Nalu Retreat. And then you also went to Halifax and stayed at a 5-star luxury experience called Muir, and that is in the Queen's Marque district. So two different experiences, one region, right? So I have a friend up there, actually a couple in Nova Scotia, and from everything I've seen and heard, it sounds absolutely gorgeous.
It was very gorgeous, and just different experiences, like you said. And the North Shore is where I stayed in the glamping dome, and that was at Nalu Retreat. About 3.5 years old, I think now, but a lot of people were just learning about it. It seemed like, even locals. So it was great. It was beautiful. It's nothing like camping in a tent. It's definitely more glamorous than that, but you do, because you have your full bed, you have, your kitchenette, you have living room and a loft, and the views are stunning. Wow. Yeah, it's really, they have everything for you. The heat, air, they have all that for you. You have a hot tub, a little hot tub outside. You have a fire pit, all kinds of amenities there. You are kind of by yourself. It's kind of remote, about 15, 20 minutes from like a grocery store or something like that. But that's what makes it nice. It's just a rural area. Like, you'll just see people walking on the rural streets and little kids with fishing rods on their, walking to, I don't even know where, because there's like dirt gravel roads. But it's really nice. It's really peaceful. The views are beautiful of Porter Lake, and about a drive to the ocean. Yeah.
So not far from the ocean, and you've got a lake. So a little bit of hiking and nature, like a nature, retreat. Sounds like.
Yeah. The hiking was right around the corner from where I stayed. So I did a beautiful hike, crowbar trail, hiking trails, and it was great. Yeah. And then the kayaking experience was about a half hour away. That was beautiful too. And it's just all part of it. You can be really active.
Wow. So when you stayed in this beautiful dome, so you just bring your groceries in so you can cook what you want and just basically relax and be in that. You don't have to drive your car if you don't want to, right? Just stay there and chill out.
Yep, you can do that. If you want to go kayaking or get to the stores, you do need a car. But once you get there, you have, really all you need as long as you bring your groceries in. For me, the first night, they actually brought in dinner from Lupin Dining and Pantry, which is where I had dinner, I think the second night I was there, which is a really nice restaurant. They do 7-course meals, and they put in like a chicken fettuccine in my fridge waiting for me. So my first night I didn't have to really do anything. So that was lovely. And it's the dome that I stayed in was Dome 1. And so there's not an oven, but you have your microwave and, certain little hot plates and things like that. They do have 3 domes, and they have a lake house. I think the lake house has a full kitchen.
Okay. But you have a full bathroom, and that's important.
Oh, yeah. Yes, definitely full bath and bed, and it's very comfortable space. Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Now, did you sample any Nova Scotia wine while you were there?
I did. I absolutely did. A couple of times I got the opportunity to, while I was in Halifax, and actually a few at Lupin Dining while I was on the North Shore as well during the 7-course meal. And then I had a few at the wine spot in Halifax, because they kind of, the owner is a sommelier and a huge advocate of wellness. So she kind of did all Nova Scotia wines at her venue. And then also at dinner in Halifax, I had some Nova Scotia wines, and also on a farewell sailing trip, they did Nova Scotia wines. So it's, a lot of crisp whites, Tidal Bay crisp whites, and from the Annapolis Valley. That's mostly where they grow their grapes.
Okay.
So they were some lovely whites mostly. I did have a red I liked a lot as well. It was the Lucie Kuhlmann grape. It was a red grape, all woman owned winery called, I don't want to say it wrong. I think it was Gaspereau. Yeah.
Very cool. I had no idea. I just thought if I don't ask you about wine, that would not be normal.
Right. I know.
So that's really cool that you got to experience that. I don't think I've ever had Canadian wine, now that I think of it.
Oh, I know, me too. Well, I've had some from British Columbia, but I think I'm a huge advocate of having wine wherever I am and tasting.
Oh, I'm a huge advocate of that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. Oh, I think Niagara Falls area, they have wine and wineries out there too. That makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Well, this is so cool. So you do the luxury, glamping, and I'm all for the dome. I think that would be really neat. But then you said that you went to the Muir, and so this is the Queen's Marque district. Is that right?
Yes. That's right on the boardwalk, a 5-star hotel. Yeah, you will want for nothing or need anything at that hotel.
This is completely separate. Yeah. Yeah. White glove service kind of thing.
Yeah. Service was wonderful. Everything from like valet to the restaurant to the housekeeping. I mean, they were just wonderful, and you just didn't even have to really ask for anything.
So is this pretty much in the heart of Halifax? What was Halifax, the city itself, like?
Yeah. So it was on the boardwalk. It's right on the boardwalk, and while it is a typical boardwalk where you see, ice cream and the donairs, I think is a big thing for them, but, burgers and hot dogs and that kind of thing. They're really addressing the fine wine and dining scene on the boardwalk as well. So I got to experience all of that, which was really cool. And I think that they were known for that too.
That's cool. So a lot of good dining, good wine. And then is the downtown like historic, that people can enjoy a little history too?
Oh yeah, they have the public gardens. They have a Citadel Hill. You can go up there, and there was a huge also Lebanese community, and so there's a lot of monuments and things like that. You can kind of learn about the immigrants that came over in different waves, and so you learn a lot. The Titanic exhibits there, the Titanic and the Halifax Explosion graveyards are not far from the downtown area. So I did do that as well, because it was just really neat. I learned a lot. You learn a lot when you travel anyway, but a lot of history.
That's really cool. And so staying at the Muir, were you able to just, park and then get out and explore from the hotel on foot?
Yeah. Once I got to downtown Halifax, I turned my car in and I never needed it again.
Oh, that's cool. So she's like, I'm all taken care of at the Muir. So what were the rooms like?
So they have, I think it's 106 rooms, standard to like suites to your presidential suite. 109 rooms. Yeah. So, they're beautiful. I had a beautiful view of the boardwalk. So I'm sure they all vary, with what kind of view you get, but I could just look out and see the boardwalk every morning in the water. And that was so nice. They also have a speakeasy called BK. Cool. Which is really cool. You have to knock on the door to get in. And then once you get in, they have a beautiful view of the water and nice outside patio and all kinds of small bites and food and wine.
And you said they had a restaurant on site as well?
Yes, they have a restaurant. Their main restaurant is called Drift, and that's on the first floor. Anything from like coffee cake for breakfast to lunches to like lobster for dinner, you can pretty much get anything there. Yeah.
Oh, and coffee cake. I'd like some now. That sounds so good. Yeah. So, choosing between the two styles of lodging, to me, they both sound wonderful. I think I'm very much the dome person. Just like I love anytime I can be out in nature and just kind of some peace and quiet is a good thing. But what would you say for people making a decision of staying? Because they both sound luxurious in their own rights.
For sure. They are. I think it depends on what you want to do in the days too. Like I definitely love to be active all day. So the beauty of the Nalu Retreat was that you had that nature right there, which, you could hike, you could kayak, you could do all that and just kind of roam around your area. So I love that. But in Halifax proper, also downtown, you can do a ton of walking. I logged like 12 miles a day just walking up the Citadel Hill and going to the little park over there. Well, not really so little park, but Point Pleasant Park. I did a lot of walking all day. Both places you'll definitely get more dining in downtown Halifax. Lupin was kind of the main restaurant and the nicest restaurant down by Nalu Retreat. So it depends if you are someone who wants to, do your own cooking, kind of bring your own food in, relax and not really get up and leave. Probably the retreat is best. If you are someone who you really want to just go to the restaurants and explore the food and wine scene, then probably Halifax is better. But I love doing both. So, I'd recommend doing both. They're only about 50 minutes apart from each other.
Okay.
So that would be my recommendation if you like kind of both scenes.
I think so. I'd probably start out in the city and then go out to nature, so that I can.
Well, I did it the opposite, but either way, yeah.
Yeah, just to kind of have that calm part. But it's so nice to be in a really lovely hotel where you can eat on site if you want, have cocktails in a speakeasy. You can't beat that.
Yeah.
But then also just be able to walk outside. I love that,
Yeah.
where you don't have to drive anywhere in a city. I don't want to drive in a city at all.
Right. I love being on foot. Yeah. So that made it really nice, really easy. And then you just being right on the ocean is so nice too. So
There's something about a city on the ocean and there's just so much history in that because of who, ports and things like that,
absolutely. Like they were just kind of pointing out there as they were telling me stories about, the explosion and just the Titanic. And it's amazing how the boardwalk is today and the things that happened.
Yeah. Because you think about winter out there too.
Oh yeah.
It's a whole different coastal thing.
It's gotta be cold out there. Yeah. They say the locals, that I talk to say, they still, get out as often as they can and they love the water. So anytime they can be near it,
No, was there any, since you did all these pairings across the country, I know that you hopped over the border here, but was there any this is proper Halifax food or Nova Scotia food?
Well, big, obviously seafood. So a lot of fish. Wolffish was one of the dishes that I had at the restaurant, which I had never had before. But it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen a wolffish, but they're hideous and ugly creatures. But they were tasty. I guess it was like crab, like buttery crab. It was really good. I guess that's a delicacy there. Tuna, a lot of tuna. But they're fast food was a donair, which is kind of like a gyro. That was big on the boardwalk.
Okay.
Like a gyro with a different kind of sauce.
Yeah. That's interesting. Never been there. I'm like, what are we eating?
I know. I'd recommend seafood mostly. That's mostly what I ate.
Okay. Well, that goes with wine too.
Yeah. Especially their crisp whites that they mostly.
Wow. Very cool. That's really interesting to hear about these different places and they're not far from us. I was going to ask, I know that you're into wine, obviously as a sommelier and, certified wine specialist, all those fine print things you've had to do to be certified that will make me want to drink more and never pass my exams. But did the travel writing come first or later, or have they always been together in your, career box there?
Yeah. Funny you should say that. Actually, wine got me into writing. And when I passed my certified specialist I wrote an article for the Society of Wine Educators, and then I went towards for the master's for the court and did the certified sommelier. And I knew that I didn't want to be in the restaurant business or, service really that at this point in my life. So I loved writing. And once I started doing it, it was wine that kind of got me into it. And then I kind of expanded into all things travel.
Okay, cool, cool. So do you travel globally or mostly North America?
Both.
Oh,
This year has been amazing. Yeah, this year I did a lot of both. I did last year I was in Croatia and then Barcelona, and then this year I was in France. But I've done a lot of the U.S. as well. I was in the Finger Lakes, Seattle. I did Grapevine, Texas. So quite a bit, a lot for wine, and a lot just
yeah.
a lot add on
Mm.
wine to other things. Travel. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. And you've been member of IFWTWA for a while as well, you know?
Yeah. I think it's been about 5 years.
Well, it is food, wine, and travel. It goes with what you do.
It certainly does. It made sense.
Yeah. Have you done any wine programs for them?
I have not. That's a good question. No, that's never come up, but that'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, because they have all those webinars and everything that they
Yeah,
do, which is pretty
very
cool.
cool.
I remember in COVID of them just going, no, we're not stopping. Travel, wine, all of that, we're moving forward. It's a time to learn and network and some people still traveled. You know, there were still ways to do it.
Yeah, actually, this Nalu retreat would probably be one you could have done in COVID because you could be by yourself.
That's that sounds wonderful.
Yeah,
Not the COVID part, but
yeah,
the being, yeah, a lot of lodgings, if they were family owned or like a husband, wife owning a bed and breakfast, were able to cater to people traveling, so it was a
absolutely.
really nice time to travel, honestly.
Yeah, you could be remote if you needed to be. So this
Hmm.
would have been actually a good one for it.
Yeah, and gas prices were really low.
Yes, they were. It was hard to imagine. We all went through that together. Isn't it?
I know, I know. So where's your next destination?
So I'm going to be in Santa Cruz, California this weekend. That's going to be some concert, food, wine, kind of the boardwalk thing there, see what that's all about. I'm actually doing a story on autographed Marriotts. So that's going to round out my 4 or 5 that I stayed at to kind of do a separate story on autographed Marriotts. So that's
Oh,
fun. Yeah. And then I'm an Ohio State alumni. So I'm going to a Ohio State game in September too. We're going to do some food and wine and football.
sounds good to me. I
Yeah.
have no clue about football, but the food and wine will be right there. Sounds well, you're getting a good taste of America as well,
Yeah.
literally with your book and everything. But we wish you best on. So the best thing for everyone to keep up with you is on your website to go to About Wine in.
Yes, yes, I'm a contributing writer for Lux Beat magazine as well as IFWTWA, so you can find my columns there. But I
Okay.
link them all to about wine and AZ.
Okay. And then for everybody that's in Arizona and wants to learn about wine, can you give everyone a little overview of what you do and who should call you?
Well, I have done and can do still private classes at wine bars and even private homes if you wanted to do a wine class catered towards Italian wines or Wine 101, things like that. I've
Okay.
done quite a bit. But yeah, I'm open to catering to or customizing a class.
No, very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much. It's been fun having you on the show.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate having me on again, and hopefully we'll stay in touch.
Yes, and have wine.
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio's Food, Wine, and Travel Show, featuring members of the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. We encourage you to visit their website. We say IFWTWA, which is IFWTWA.org. You can also follow us at bigblendradio.com. Happy travels, everyone!